Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Thanks for coming. A little bit of pre-Swan Song, hanging out, playing some Fallout. I really wanted to play this the other day, but I didn't have it up on the schedule for streaming, and I felt like a jerk if I had played it without y'all, so I put it aside, did some other stuff. But I'm glad that you're here with me to play some Fallout and to talk about nerdy stuff. Yeah, so it's 3-ish o'clock on the 23rd of February, and Griffin is also saying hello. I'm going to be running this for about an hour and a bit. We'll see where we end up, because I have Swan Song. So yeah, where were we last time? We were Metzgering. We talked to this dude about freeing some slaves. Vic got his radio thing sorted out, and I'm gonna go and goof around for a little bit before I resolve this or that other Lara quest. Yeah, so sit back, relax, hang out. I'm going to be playing this and talking about role-playing games in general, games in particular. My life seems to be very full of post-apocalypses these days. If you tuned into the Swan Song GM turn, you know what that action is about. So, yeah. So, good to have you. Welcome. And let's play some Fallout. So, I'm going to tie up a couple of little loose ends here first. I think there's a quest in one of these buildings that I want to get. So I'm going to go check that out, see if I can figure that out. And then if I run out of time, I will find... I will go and I'll wreck up the joint with Lara and her goons. Yeah, so I'm feeling a little like, I don't know, scatterbrained today, so if I don't get all deep and intense, then I'm sorry. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on chat, and if you have questions or whatever, I'm here to interact also. So, it's because it comes up a lot right now, like buffering, stream quality, my lack of a subscribe button. Hopefully a lot of that stuff will be resolved by Twitch soon. I'm hoping to get my partnership thing sorted out with them quickly. But thanks for coming in the meantime. You know, you can't get partnership without an audience, and y'all are why this action is happening. So thank you so much. Alright, so I'm just making sure that I've had a chance to kind of like talk to everybody in town. I'm not missing any quests before I go and do the big gunfight. Alright, so let's get into harassing the game about some choices that it made. Okay, so this is a guy named Flick. He is a random merchant. Let's take a minute to look at his dialogue here. What are you talking about? You think I'm a fucking stupid pirla, some dumb filio de putana? You think I'm some kind of clown? I'm here to amuse you. It's a reference, obviously, to Goodfellas, I think. Or one of those other types of mob movies. I don't know why it's included here. Wasting my time here. Like, I get it, okay, but it doesn't give you any context for this. So this guy just has a random annoying Italian stereotype accent. Fucking provider. What do you think? Like, where did he watch a TV show about Italy? Like cheesy Italian stereotypes, or like where did this come from? I don't know. Flick, you're a random character. Just like what seems to be a lot of like kind of random throwing in of accents and stuff like that into the game. This guy has some good stuff to trade, but I also have no money, and I know... No, I got 300. And I'm going to need some to buy old what's-his-face, Vic, later. So, I kind of need to save my money, but what I might be able to do is steal from this dude. Yeah, right, like, the game is full of those, like, pop culture references, and I get, like, pop culture references being a thing. I do it all the time. Like, you watch every game I have ever played on Roleplay, and I definitely, I throw references around, but I try to make them specific to the game setting, right? Like, that ship in Swan Song, the Taylor Swift. Like, yeah, it's a cultural reference, but it's also a reference to the fact that the culture has been laundered of meaning, right? Is that no one knows what the Taylor Swift is. And so, like, that's what I wonder about this setting, is, like, where... Does that guy know that he's got, like, an annoying Italian accent, like a fake Italian accent, or does he not? Like, how much is the character aware of that, and what does it contribute to the rest of the world? You know, I talked a little bit in the last stream about Sulik's Jamaican accent, his Caribbean accent that he's got, and whether it fits into the general understanding that the game gives us of the world. I don't think it does, but I mean, we'll keep playing, and maybe there are other characters like that. Like, maybe we'll run into Sulik's tribe. I really don't remember much about the game, so it might be really cool to see that come up later, or maybe it won't happen. I don't know. Right now, all I know is I need money, so I'm gonna just try and steal from people. I know I'm gonna get money for that quest, but stealing is just more effective and less risky. Yeah, give me your jets. Stealing drugs from Tubby. Thanks, Tubbs. All right. Well, I feel like I've pretty much explored this area. I think there's supposed to be like a ghost around here somewhere, but I couldn't find her. Yeah, right? Yes. So this is the thing that I think that Fallout 3... No, New Vegas does really well, is all of New Vegas's references fit within the rest of the setting. So, like, when you're when you encounter those, the Kings, the Elvis gang, right? Like, they're washed of context. The Kaisar's dudes are like that too, because they don't even know how to pronounce Caesar. Like, they're it's beautiful because it's like, okay, they have a reference that's already a reference to something, right? They're not referencing Caesar's legions specifically. They're referencing the casino, the, like, Roman-themed casino, and then that's related to this, like, weird gang that they form. I love the idea that they just don't have context for that stuff. So every time that comes up, it's really cool. But in this game, there's so much, like, winking and nudging and, like, hey, remember this? This is like a 80s or 90s reference. When really the effective reference would be to refer to stuff from the 60s. He's got some jet. No, I don't want jet. So this is a lot of information that doesn't really... Oh, he's showing me where New Reno is. That's nice. Okay, so who's Tyler? I know all this already. So again, like, the game, not super aware of what, what they're doing here, but, like, you notice that a lot of these, like, and it's a limitation of the technology, but a lot of the dialogue trees are kind of the same, and you don't have the option to... Your character doesn't improve their dialogue abilities over time, in that, like, if I ask someone, like, hey, where's New Reno? I'm gonna ask another character that, even if, I already know it, right? Yes. Yeah, debate Latin in my chat, please. I love it. I actually think Latin is a fantastic language. I wish that we, for the sake of, like, etymology, I wish that people were taught Latin more often as kids. Because I think if you understand Latin, you can figure out the like purpose of a lot of words in English, because English is like a bastard language stolen from a million other languages. But it's cool because you can you can understand where a lot of words come from if you know a bit more Latin. So that classical education, it's useful to have. Okay, so Let's take a look. I'm in another random bar. I guess there's a restaurant. My name's Mom. Well, you're not my mom. Everyone calls me that. Treat people like they're kin. What's your rules? No cursing, stealing, or fighting. Okay. So a nice individual. She's gonna end up being a cannibal or something, isn't she? She's from Vault City, east of here. That's interesting. A little north. Sure hope you know where Vic is. Again, I'm asking about Vic when I already know him. So that's interesting. Okay. It's fine. I don't need more pointless NPC information. I guess I'm gonna save and try to steal from Mom, because I'm having one of those days. Because, you know, like I said, you're not my mom. Oh, Mom's got a knife. Well, forget you, Mom. Okay. So, basically just a lot of filler NPCs in this area. Oh, Stacy has a name. Got anything to say? Oh, my mom and my cat. Sure, let's buy her a drink. There used to be ones big as you and me used to eat animals. Big as Brahmin. Now that's scary stuff. A small cute animal. It cuddles. She's looking for a cat. Like to be pet, but they make this little relaxing sound. Okay. Okay, alright. So weird concept time again. How do I not know what a cat is? How do we know what money is, but I don't know what I've never heard of a cat. Like, it's like a dog, but small and makes a nice noise. Like, context. In what universe do I not have context for cats? Like, I'm pretty sure that even, like, tribals would still have, like, felines around to, like, hunt vermin and stuff. Whatever, okay. Is this gonna be a quest, or are you just telling me nothing? Okay, so they ate your cat. I'm sorry, makes you sad. Wow, well, okay, so again, I got rewarded for being patient enough to listen through that. Cool. 200 experience for listening to her blab about her cat. Good enough. Okay, well, I'm gonna go and trigger this Lara quest in a second, I think. Just one more thing I want to do. I'm gonna go have a quick conversation with Metzger. So why are you keeping here? Maybe some money would help. Sorry, I can't afford that yet. Okay, so I gotta have 1,000 credits to free Vic. So I need 700 bucks, credits, or whatever before I play. So play on through this this area. So I don't know. Let's see what Metzger has. What do you got, buddy? I'm either gonna steal something cool, or I'm gonna have the whole town try to kill me. No, shotgun. All right. So here's a question: is a bigger object harder to steal than a smaller one? Is my chance to steal lower or higher depending on whether it's a big item? Let's steal a stim pack. Okay, I did it. Let's steal a shotgun. Oh, I'm caught. I'm gonna get killed instantly. Look at all these dudes with guns. Oh god. Well, I hit him anyway, so that's good. I'm just gonna let myself get killed. There's no way I can... That guy shot Metzger instead of me. There's no way I can survive this, so I'm gonna let myself get killed. Yeah. Wah wah. I'm dead. Why finish the turn? Okay, so I know that I want to come back and kill Metzger later, but I'm gonna need better gear for that action. So I'll save the stealing from him until I'm a little bit better. So, yeah, post-apocalypses. I've been thinking a lot about what a civilization would be like during an apocalypse. Like, what kinds of things... You know, I started thinking about... I started thinking about this, obviously... So, okay, 10-second spoiler warning. I'm going to talk about stuff that happened in episode 14 of Swan Song. If you're not caught up, this is a spoiler warning for you. If you're watching this on YouTube, pause, go finish Swan Song and come back, or just skip ahead. I'll give it 30 seconds of spoiler time. I'll put my hand back up when we're done with spoiler talk. So here's your warning. Okay, so I'm talking about spoilers. So I've been thinking about what an apocalyptic civilization would be like, and not a post-apocalyptic civilization, but a straight-up apocalypse situation, where as things are falling apart, as everything is like blowing up, it's in the process of being destroyed, rather than just like 20 years ago everything fell apart, which is what most post-apocalypse fiction is like. It's like, what would it be like to play a game that's during an apocalypse, so while all the bad stuff is happening? It tends to be like, in the media you look at like disaster movies. I guess those are apocalypses, but they tend to be focused on the story of one person or a group of people, like a family, where they're like, okay, let's jump into the story of this one family trying to survive. And that's interesting. But, because of what happened on Andoni, in Swansong, there's all this like a devastation and destruction, and so I'm wondering kind of how to model that. And I've been thinking about what would have happened if a different set of assets had been blown up. Like, what if, obviously, like if the base of influence instead of the government, or the harvesters. What if the harvesters had survived? Like, how would the replacement government, how would the remnant government look, and how long would they last? Like, obviously, what we have on Andoni now is a mid-apocalypse kind of military autocracy, and I think it's going to really flavor how that works, but I'm curious about, like, if the crew of the Swansong, and if you're watching, you can find out in like a couple hours what they're going to do, but I'm wondering if the crew of the Swansong is going to go down to Andoni, and how best to portray that situation. Like, obviously things are wrecked, the atmosphere is all burned up, there's radiation and disaster movie type hazards, right? Like, you go into a building, the building's falling over, what if the lawyers survived? But like so there's this military that's only had a few hours to, like, they're the only ones that have survived. They're probably still in crisis mode, trying to figure things out. How long does it take before we get from people scrambling around in an apocalypse, like with the sky on fire, to everything else dying out and things being all burnt out, and the military trying to take over again, and like people in like wandering bands of post-apocalyptic, like this, right? Like Fallout. So how do we get from there to there? Like, I would love to see a Fallout game that takes place immediately after the war that causes the Fallout games later on, right? So, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try and do my best to portray that in an interesting way. But for all we know, the Swansong crew could just up and leave, right? They could be like, well, sorry, everybody on Andoni, we are out of here. In which case, this will be the first episode of the show that... everybody is they're actually doing the sandbox thing, which is why I didn't create a bunch of new jobs right now. So I'm really curious. Okay, spoiler time is over. I'm done talking about spoilery stuff. Everybody just chill on the Swansong spoilers. Okay, so I'm triggering an event now. I'm going to go and check out what is going to happen with Lara here. If you remember the last episode, I totally got my ass kicked. Okay, so I gotta go find a weakness. This is where I learn about the party. Then I come back, we trigger the quest, and then bad stuff happens. My 30-second estimate was lowballing it. Yeah, just a little. I get talking about stuff and I can't stop. Alright, let's see what we got here. So, we've been over this before. They're gonna have a party. I learn about the party, weakness in Tyler's gang, and I can head back to Lara, Limbo. So, one thing that I really like about tabletop RPGs, and we talked a little bit about this before, is the persistence of the world. And I'm actually finding it, and this is something for a future episode of Being Everything Else, but I'm actually finding it really fun to have an audience for the game, especially the like really cool wiki that has been maintained by a number of players. or audience members, it's so good. It's like my GM brain has been expanded out into the cloud, and y'all are helping me co-process the game. It's a big part of why I like having an audience and fan input and having everybody be really like bought in, because I love reading threads about like what would happen if this happened, or like remember back in episode 2 when this happened. So it gives me a lot more context for creating a persistent universe, which I think is fantastic and really fun. And you know, it's something that I would love to see more of in CRPGs, right? And like when I do a thing, it changes the world at large. I love games that have like reputation systems. I haven't played it. I own it, but haven't played Shadows of Mordor yet. But I understand it does some of that stuff. I mean, that's gonna suck me in every time. Yeah, like having a world that feels like I'm actually making a difference. Yeah, and so basically, I guess what I'm saying is that if you're a fan of the show and you've been paying attention, you've been posting on JP's subreddit, you know, you watch the GM turn, you're here talking about the games that I'm running, I think that it's very cool, and I appreciate your help. Making role-playing games into like a spectator event has been... I mean, I'm not the first person to do it. Certainly, JP's been doing this for a while, but like actively trying to engage the audience in a game sense, right? Not just like, hey, we're gonna... Oh, that's good. See you later, Mark. You know, not just we're gonna show you a game, but I want you to participate in the game in a way. Like that stuff is really neat to me. So Tyler's not here? Let me go talk to Laura. No, that was it. Okay. I find this really disappointing. There's a guy who obviously had a gun and he's dead and I can't steal their stuff. So, Cargo Cult God. Awesome name, by the way. Cargo cults are fascinating. Asked about when I'm going to start streaming, producing, whatever, my own stuff in terms of like roleplay content. You know, I don't know that I will. I really like the audience that we have through roleplay. For me, and Steven and I have talked a little bit about this, you know, is the thing that I find really interesting would be creating a role-playing game. Like, if you don't already know, I co-created, co-produced, co-wrote a game called Dungeon World a few years ago that's sort of semi-popular. And I do a lot of freelance game design on my own. I'm working with a couple of companies right now to make some game content for them. But what I'd really love to do is design a role-playing game specifically for play on Twitch that leverages the kinds of stuff that Twitch can do really well and that having an audience is good at. You know, like, basically we're playing hacked versions of all of the games that we play because these games aren't meant to be played necessarily. They weren't designed to be played for an audience. So they're not... there's no mechanism for that stuff, right? So, like, you know, you see when I do the Mirror Shades or the Swan Song, you know, pick the mission they're going to go on type of stuff, or we do the whole you know, trait vote situation. So it's like who gets the award for MVP and everything. So on Mirror Shades, but what I'd really like to do is create a game that has that stuff built in. Obviously, the reward section would be the easiest place to fit it. And I think there's a lot of stuff we could do with Burning Wheel, especially because it has a lot of that like nuanced voting mechanism. But it'd be super cool to build a game that's just like, okay, you're the players, there's an audience, and the audience plays the game in this fashion. Now there are a couple. So if you're looking for interesting new role-playing games and want to see some stuff you may never have heard of, get out your text file now. So one game that I think has some really cool like audience type things that would be really easy to hack would be Primetime Adventures, which is a pretty like seminal indie role-playing game. It's a super cool game. It's a game in which it doesn't have a It doesn't have a theme. Like, it's not like there's no genre. Like, you could set it pretty much anywhere. It's generic in the sense that it's setting agnostic, but it's not a generic game because you're making a TV show out of a game, right? Where you're like, okay, we're gonna... The characters in the game are characters on a TV show, and there's like a fan mail mechanic, and... Is that a knife? Yeah, okay. There's a fan mail mechanic where the players can reward each other for doing awesome stuff. It's really interesting, and... Why can't I pick up this knife? Oh, because there's a fence in the way. My enemy, the fence. Anyway, Primetime Adventures, they just kickstarted it. You should definitely check it out. It is super cool. But I think that would do really well on Twitch because you can play pretty much any game that any game setting you want. So like if we were looking to do, and it doesn't have to be the kind of traditional crap that role-playing games always do. It doesn't have to be post-apocalypse, sci-fi, fantasy, space. Like I love all that stuff, but it's like the same kind of semi-violent adventure-y type stuff that D&D creates, like horror game or whatever. You could do a game that's like a sitcom or, you know, whatever. So it's really cool, and I think that that's a game that I'd like to try on stream sometime. I'm almost there. Almost at 1,000. Okay, I'm gonna go and try and sell some stuff. I'll go steal from Metzger again because he might have. I know he has some money on him. And I'll try to steal from his goons. I'm going to do this annoying thing where I save a lot and try to get stuff. So, anyway, back to what I was saying about role-playing games. Primetime Adventures would be super cool for that. There's also another game called Shock, subtitled Social Science Fiction. So, Shock, is another game that's really cool and has an audience mechanic. So, the audience mechanic in that game allows you to contribute to scenes. So this would be directly like a Twitch plays Twitch plays Shock, where we would have to have some kind of way for Twitch chat to vote on scene endings or vote on who gets extra dice in certain scenes. Tenra Bancho Zero is another really cool one that has a fan mechanic where you're like, oh, you're doing good, here's a vote. And we could set thresholds, right? Where like if you get 100 votes or you get 500 votes or whatever, you get a point. And everybody could, as they're watching, not just watch the show and like alt tab, but they could watch and have part of the chat system have like they could click to vote for different things. And when people, it's basically just built on the way that kabuki theater works, like traditional kabuki theater. So okay, so here we're gonna go off on a digression about audience mechanisms. So in kabuki, in Western theater, you go to a theater, you sit down, and you just watch people perform a play. You watch a Shakespeare play, and whatever, that's it. But in kabuki, you go because you know the actors, or you know the parts, and you know the play. You're not going to see a new thing. You're going to get excited about stuff, and like when an actor delivers that like classic line that because they're all like classical plays, when the actors deliver that line, then everybody like shouts and cheers, and they're like it's about a nuanced performance of a familiar thing. So jump back to Tenra Bancho Zero, this game has a built-in kind of like fan art thing where you can vote for people as they play out scenes. So if everybody, you don't vote on what they do, but you can give them rewards for being awesome. So like, let's imagine that, Higgs and Wu are having a scene, and Wu is giving Higgs shit, and Higgs punches him in the face, and everybody in the chat is like, yeah, Higgs, he totally deserved that. They throw votes at him, and he would get a bonus, like, action in another scene, or he'd get a reroll that he could make. And, like, I can hack some of this stuff onto existing games, but it's really cool to find games that already do it. And talking about it, I've actually kind of sold myself on the idea of integrating that mechanic for Tenra Bancho, like, doing at least a one-shot, because Tenra is built for one-shots, so, yeah. So I might have to have a conversation with JP about that. So, Tenra Bancho Zero, Shock, Social Science Fiction, and Primetime Adventures, all games that are built to do some of the stuff that I would like to make a game to do explicitly for play with an audience on Twitch. So, I think that that's a kind of a dream for me. Rather than to go way back to answering the question from before, rather than just create my own campaign, I'd love to do a game and have other people play it, or develop it sort of live and do playtesting online. You know, and like we've talked about before, I just want to put the D in R&D. I feel gross just saying that. But yeah, you know what I mean. It'd be really cool to like live develop a game. That's a thing that I don't think has ever been done before. So yeah, I mean, I got lots of ideas for the future, for how the kinds of content that I would be interested in creating, but it's less about doing it all myself and more about like, let's try to make a thing together. And plus we have all these tools at our disposal, right? As gamers, we have Roll20, which I think honestly is a lot more powerful than really than what we use it for, you know? You know, it's a dice roller and a map maker and that kind of stuff. But I think that the macro system can allow us to do a lot more than we're currently doing. So that's a thing I'm trying to get a little bit more mastery over, right? I'm practicing my Roll20ing. Mirror Shades has been really good for that. So yeah, if you're looking for cool games to check out, obviously above and beyond the ones I usually recommend. God, I'm just cheesing this game for extra credits, aren't I? Oh well. I can handle it if y'all can. So, I mean, right now, I feel like we've been playing Swan Song long enough, and we're far enough into Mirror Shades that they're sort of as hacked as I'd like them to be for now. And yeah, I feel like, yeah, save game, pickpocket cheese. I'm sorry, I need money, and I want this shotgun really bad. Okay, I'm not gonna get the shotgun. I'll try it one more time. I do have a limit. I'm a human being. Everybody bear witness to my shame, my bad gameplay. Actually, if you want to see bad gameplay, watch me play anything that requires any kind of skill at all. I'm actually really bad at video games. But I did just steal a shotgun from this guy, so fuck you, buddy. Okay, let's go see if I can sell some of this stuff. Yeah, I mean, you can draw an analogy. Again, thanks, Cargo Coke. God, that's a good point. You can draw a really good analogy between Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, where like a lot of like Magic the Gathering online is okay, but it doesn't leverage the internet at all. It doesn't leverage the fact that it's a computer. But Hearthstone is really good that way because it does, right? Because Hearthstone says, okay, let's introduce mechanics that do things that no game otherwise would be able to do. This guy doesn't even have any money. That no traditional card game would be able to do. Drawing random stuff from the deck without looking at it, generating tokens in a weird way. I quite like Hearthstone just for that. And I think that there's space for role-playing games to do that too. I would love to do, like, the reason, so here's the thing, the reason that, like, we picked Stars Without Number over Traveler. So here's a good example. So Traveler is a fucking fantastic game, but there's a lot more math in Traveler than there is in Stars Without Number. Stars Without Number is very like flat and fairly simple, but you have to do a lot of complicated figuring out to know where your ship is going and at what speed and everything in Traveler. So what I think would be really cool would be to incorporate a lot of that complicated stuff into macros. So, you know, and this is, like, I'm looking for places to do this in Stars already, where I can say, okay, Higgs, roll a navigation roll. He rolls navigation. It automatically tells him what happens on a bad roll. You know, it's practicing those macros. But I'd love to play a really super complicated game that I don't know how to play and rely entirely on macros for the rules. I think that would be a fascinating experience to be like, I don't actually know anything about this game. Like, I've never played it before. I kind of know, like, I guess the basic rules, but I'm not doing any of the math myself. And and see if I can learn a game or play a game purely through letting the game, by way of like Roll20 or macros or whatever, purely by way of letting it do it for myself, for me, and not have to do any of that work. Why doesn't anybody in this town have money I can steal? Those jerks. So anyway, that's a thing. You know, on my list of on my list of shit that Adam cares about in terms of role-playing games, pretty much the top items right now are exposing people who've never played role-playing games to them, which I think role-play is fantastic for, right? Where it's like all these people that are familiar with Jeff and JP and Day 9 and the audience that's already there, they're interested in nerdy stuff to begin with, but don't know necessarily about that much about role-playing games. They've only ever heard of Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons. Introducing those people to... Oh, this guy's got lots of stuff. Introducing those people to new games and to role-playing in general. So that's number one on my priority list. I also really want to introduce more people to GMing. That is like huge priority for me. The world needs more GMs, and we need more GMs that are interested in weird, different games, and that want to people with diverse perspectives, right? Like, we don't really need any more. I mean, no offense to the white males in the audience, but we don't really need any more white male GMs. We need more women GMs, and we need more, you know, people of color GMing, people who don't have the same experiences that we all do, because we're going to learn a lot more about like what GMing is like from a different perspective. Like gaming is a very, tabletop role playing especially, is a very like white male hobby right now, or appears to be, right, from the outside. It's not to say that demographically it is, but you know, you look at the cast of most of the roleplay shows. It's just like Dude City. I'm really, you know, happy that I can't push them again. There we go. I'm really happy that I have, you know, 2 women playing on Mirror Shades. But I would also really love to have more. I'd love to play a game run by, you know, GM. Like I was watching that Misclick stream that Steven was GMing a little while ago, and watching Anna play. Like, my first thought was like, man, she needs to GM a game, because she was all over that stuff. Anna Prosser Robinson, if you don't know the Anna I'm referring to, she's awesome, and I think she would be a fantastic GM. So for me, that's priority, I guess, 2, right, is getting more diverse people GMing, and to just get everyone learning that GMing is not difficult. And then priority 3 would be leveraging the technology that we have to do more cool stuff. With role-playing games. And then priority 4 is get 35 more credits. That's priority number 4. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, and I think that stuff, and I've talked about representation in video games before and why it's important, but I think that representation in a position of authority is hugely important for tabletop gaming to be successful, right? Like, I don't think that it's going to expand. We've hit the white male ages 18 to 40 market pretty damn hard, and tabletop gaming is not going to get any better until we start branching out. So, something to think about. Am I strong enough for this? Yeah, I am. I mean, I think a lot of the time, like, and I love Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't know him, but I'm thankful for the existence of Gary Gygax. But I think a lot of the time, the whole, like, the GM is a big authority, and you have to listen to them, and referring to the GM as a man all the time, like, all of that stuff is very harmful to the DNA of gaming. So, you know, more books that are more inclusive in their art, and more books that show you don't have to be You don't have to be a dude to be a GM, right? That stuff is super important. But yeah, so what I'd like to do ultimately, I mean, I don't know, check back in a year. We'll see if hopefully if I'm done this game by then, but whatever I'm playing or whatever stream I'm doing, check back in a year and see how we're doing on that stuff, you know? See if we got more women GM in the roleplay space. See if there's a role-playing game that harnesses Twitch properly. I'm saying it here in public, like, this is the plan, this is what I want. So maybe that'll help us. That'll help us all stick to it. Okay, cool. So I have, like, really nothing left to do in this town. I've stolen from everyone. I just need a little bit more money. So I need to find a merchant that has cash. What do you got, Mom? Ah, there's one. Okay, all right. And there's the last that I need. Perfect. I'm going to be broke as a proverbial joke, but that's okay. See you later, Mom. Oh yeah, Metzger's this way. I'm going the wrong direction. Yeah, so folks are talking about gender and sexuality, inclusiveness in role-playing games. Yeah, if you watch me run games, you'll know that that's a big priority for me, and I try to show the universe through the NPCs. So, yeah, I mean, expect that, right? Expect gay and lesbian characters, expect trans characters, expect non-gender binary characters, expect characters of as many culturally and racially diverse backgrounds as I can possibly manage to jam into the game, because that's what real life is like. Yeah. It's a thing, right? I mean, shit, space is not gonna be full of white people. Like, the cast, the crew of the Swan Song, they're all white. The cast of the show is also all white. But the universe around them is not. Not by a long shot. Yeah, people are starting to ship Wu and Higgs. Well, I mean, I don't know, right? Like, and that's something that I'm trying to encourage in the players too. Like, I would be overjoyed if Higgs was like, you know what, I love you, Wu. I've been hiding it for too long. You know, I think yeah, Mr. Sakarian might be half Japanese, but we'll see. I mean, for me, like, it's tough because I get in these situations where I want to portray the universe in a way that is, like, realistic to the universe that I have in my head, and diverse because that's the universe that exists. But also, I want to do it in a way that's, like, fair and like, reasonable, you know, in a way that's, like, not me making fun of a culture or whatever. And I like doing accents, but I have to do a lot of practice because if I feel like I'm doing them badly, I would rather just not do them, you know? And it's tough. Like, I struggle with Wu's, like, I don't want Wu to be short round, right? Like, he's a little short roundy, but I don't want him to be like a stereotype, right? So it's tough. It's hard. But it matters. So sometimes you gotta do hard things. Like, spend all your money to free some fat dude who is bad at making equipment, but you love him anyway, because he's gonna help you find the Gek. Alright, Vic, you idiot. Let's go. What can you do to repay me? Where's Vault 13? There's a Vault City. Vault City is east of here. I know, you just told me. Great, let's go. So I can have more than one follower, I guess? What what weapons does he like? Small arms, rifle, shotgun, small medium pistols. You can use knives, throwing arm. Okay, let's see what he's got. I'm guessing nothing. Yeah, he definitely has nothing on him. I could give him that shotgun, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. That's annoying. Yeah, short round. Short round is a racist stereotype from Indiana Jones. He's a Chinese kid who just spouts Chinese kidisms. Yeah, it's not an archetype. It's just me describing a character that I don't want Wu to be too much like. You also notice that when I'm running the game, for me, like by default, a lot of the characters in positions of power, or the characters that like have their shit together, are women, because I think that kind of representation is important. But also, like, there's lots of women NPCs that do not have their shit together, like Higgs's old girlfriend, which, if we roll back, she's the one that had the ship called the Taylor Swift. Alright, so I've got next to no gear. I got a gun. I got some friends. Let's leave town. I mean, I think it's interesting when people speculate about the sexuality of characters, because all we really have to access that information is the way they behave in play, right? And, like, it's interesting to watch players try to represent their characters. I mean, so this is the thing, like, and you hear this a lot in criticisms of games that address character sexuality or things like gender. Like, people had a fucking hissy fit over that whole thing in D&D 5th edition where they were like, you could be a character who's a man, or you could be a character who's a woman, or a character who's neither, or a character who's both, or a character that's some other, like, non-standard gender identity, because it's a fucking fantasy game, and also because those things exist in real life, so don't step on it. So, it's like, yeah, okay, so the argument against is that people say, well, I don't care about that because, you know, my games don't include that stuff. They're just adventures. It doesn't matter. They're just going to go on an adventure, and their sexuality doesn't matter. But, like, I'd like to think that it's a part of someone's identity, right? Like, it doesn't matter mechanically in most games. Some games it does. But it doesn't matter mechanically in Dungeons and Dragons, certainly. But it's still relevant. It's still a thing. And so, like, you end up watching... the shows, for example, or like playing with other people, and occasionally that stuff comes up. And so, like, I don't know, I think it's really interesting, and I like when games address it because it brings it to the forefront and says, this is a real thing. It's a real thing in this game because it's a real thing in real life, and you can care about it. And so I think that kind of stuff, that like inclusiveness, is sure not integral to gameplay, but relevant in terms of visibility, right? Like, the worst thing that can happen to people is that they're invisible, right? Is that you can say, like, I mean, obviously the worst thing that can happen to a group of people is that they're, like, harassed, but invisibility is a form of harassment, right? It's just saying, like, you don't exist. And that's, you know, that's a thing that I take really, like, seriously. So it means a lot to me to know that people in the audience watching the show might be themselves, like, gay or lesbian or, I don't know, black or Korean or whatever, and they're seeing representation of people like them in, admittedly, like, this fictional world, but that they exist, you know? So, I don't know, stuff that's important to me, and a thing that I notice a lot in games, and I'm really curious about exploring. Like, that's why I like how Mirror Shades has kind of become a lot about the relationship between the characters, right? Like, people are shipping the various characters together, and whatever. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. Sorry, I'm just checking chat because, you know. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean it's interesting and cool, and it's a part of human existence, and so I think it should be a part of role-playing games, because role-playing games is just telling stories, and stories are about humans, and it's all kind of one thing, right? Not a priority for some GMs, but it matters to me, and I try not to like throw it in the like audience's face too often. I don't make the game about that, but I respond to the stuff that the players like, and I respond to the stuff that the audience likes, right? So the more y'all talk about fucking bond down or break sass, you know, the more I include that stuff, because as a producer of content, you want to make stuff that people like or care about. So, you know. So again, you notice that Sulik was like, Sulik was just like, "Can you feel the rhythm?" Yep. Thanks, Jamaican stereotype guy who's also white. Also, this fight is getting nasty. Where's the exit from this zone? I'm gonna get out of here before we all die, or Vic runs out of ammo. Ass down. Yeah, I've been joking with the cast of Mirror Shades that we need some like relationship mechanics. I need to pillage the various like romance indie games. Jesus Christ, he's getting wrecked. Let's get the hell out of here. I need to pillage them for some relationship mechanics, like strings from Monster Hearts or something. Ah, god damn it, Vic. Well, thanks a lot, Vic. You died. I am going to load again. I don't remember where I loaded from. Do I have money? No. Okay, so I have Vic. Let's get out of here. This is ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of like weird feedback during the initial bits of Mirror Shades, because people were like, why do you keep harping on this racism thing? Why do you keep telling everybody about how Crusher can't fit through the door? And like, I don't know, it's a thing, right? Like it's Shadowrun does this thing where on the one hand it's like really good about being about racism, on the other hand it handles some stuff imperfectly, but no, Jesus. But I also think that it's there's a valid approach, and that racism is a part of the game world. So it's a thing I'm going to include. You know, I care about it as a topic, and it's in setting. Racism is a big part of how Shadowrun works and what it's about. So, you know, I want to include it. I want to focus on it. Now, not every single game is going to be about, like, not every campaign is going to be about racism. Not every adventure that go on is going to be like, you know, protect the meta-human rights activist or fight the Humanist Poly Club. But it's like, it's a thing, right? And so it deserves attention, and I'm playing the game as written, so it's, you know, including content that belongs in the game. Yeah, do that hex run. Squiggles. Aw, Sulik. Am I just gonna have to save or load every time an NPC dies? I am, aren't I? Run, Sulik, you idiot. No, I'm gonna get out of here. Alright. Here we go. So yeah, anyway, like, it's not, I don't want to make the game all about that stuff, but I also want to include it, and it's going to keep coming up. And I feel like that it's a feature, not a bug, right? Like, I feel like if you're watching Mirror Shades and you're enjoying what you're seeing, you're digging on the stuff that we're doing, and that might be the action bits, it might be the like socially aware stuff, it might be something else, right? It might just be to like watch JP try to roleplay a character who can't really talk. Like, there's lots of reasons to tune into a show, and I think that there's lots of reasons to dislike a show too, right? And so we miss one and hit the other. So I think we just do our best, and people like to watch for their own reasons. And again, it goes back to like me hoping that the people that watch the show are getting they're getting something out of it that means something to them, even on a small scale. Tired Dorian, I like it when Crusher flips cars too. Did we win? Did we just win a fight? Yeah. I totally did. God, I feel good about myself. I'm a real adventurer now. Let's level up. Okay. So what do I get here? I've got this is just a skill points leveling up. Yeah, won a fight. That's game. Thanks, everybody. Let's level up our small guns. Let's level up our steel, because I've been doing a lot of that. Let's level up our lockpick. Let's level up speech. And let's level up sneak. There we go. Yeah, people talking about classism. Classism and cyberpunk are like so totally integral. Like every cyberpunk fiction ever has elements of classist stuff in it. And classism isn't always just like rich people being mean to poor people. It's just generalized discrimination against somebody based on where they stand in society. And cyberpunk is inherently a concept that does away with the middle class. And so you're either rich or you're poor, right? And that's what makes it such a dystopia. I had a really great conversation with a friend of mine recently about how to modernize cyberpunk. And we were talking about how like branding is the new corporate loyalty. And how it would be really cool to, like, if I were to make a setting that was cyberpunk now, it would be that the corporations secede from... Ooh, unknown. Let's go check this out. Corporations secede from their countries and become their own extraterritorial entities, just like in regular type cyberpunk. But also, it's about finding people that belong to the brand. Like, brand is new nationality. Like, look at Abercrombie and Fitch and the people that work in those stores and the people that are on their ads. And imagine an entire country, like a country where to live there, you have to look like an Abercrombie and Fitch model or employee or whatever, right? Do the same with like Apple. Do the same with, really pick a company and look at the way they advertise and the kinds of people in their ads. Like if Nike was an extraterritorial entity, who would be allowed to live in Nike, right? Gatorade, where would those alliances form? And that's how I would do modern. That's how I would do modern cyberpunk, right? It's about like who's on brand, right? Like, are you on brand for your company? Do you belong to them in the correct way? Yeah, so I've written a note. I filed that one away. Okay, so I wandered into a small, quaint farming community because we're still playing Fallout. Yeah, so small, quaint farming community surrounded by vast fields of dead or dying crops. Let's see what's up in this small, quaint community. Trading post closed indefinitely due to drought. I'm new here. What can you tell me about the town? Oh, this is Modoc. Okay. I remember this place. Why is it called Modoc? Is it another real place? Is it a misinterpretation of something else? I wonder if we'll find out. Yeah, you guys have some really good... Yeah, really good ideas. Yeah, dress codes at U.S. universities. Yeah. Amazon the country. Very cool. The Grand Nation of Steam. You guys are cute. Okay, so let's see. So there's a trading post, there's a slaughterhouse, there's a local church in Modoc, there's a bed and breakfast, world famous omelets, Grisham, son Davin, best damn jerky this side of the Rockies, there's a tannery, and so there's also a drought. I wonder if that sounds like a quest. What? Our only business is that you will tell me where the Holy Gek is located before something bad happens. You should come back when that chip isn't so big. Ah. This guy doesn't like me. Let's talk about it again. I seek the Holy Gek. And the people that made this game really like Holy Grail. Tell me where the Gek is, you fool. I'm gonna have the same conversation with you over and over. Ah, here we go. You know I can't make it rain. I'm in trouble. This is a farm in the outskirts where no farm. Some years it just appeared. A group of us were hunting, we noticed it. That wasn't the strange thing. There weren't anybody there. Trying to contact the owner as the farm must be abandoned. And young Carl moved in. Carl tells stories of glowing figures, tending the crops, feeding the animals. Sounds haunted. The horror. Bodies strewn everywhere. Some crucified, others left to rot. Yeah, dude, let's go check this haunted farm out. In return for helping us, I'll tell you where you can find what you seek. It's a deal. Show me where this ghost farm is. Northeast of Modoc. Cool. But before I go, I'm going to try to steal from you. Because I'm that kind of jerk. Give me your money, friend. Getting things for nothing feels good. I should have got him to cut his finger off. Yeah, I know. Where's Vic? Vic, where you at, buddy? Nope, that's not who I intended to talk to. Here we go. Alright, Vic, here's some more shotgun shells for you. Yeah, if you're looking for fiction that does the, like, weird future thing, and, like, alternate currencies and post-scarcity and stuff, there's a few options. You may be tempted to read Dave Eggers' The Circle. Don't do it, it was terrible. I mean, if you want to, like, make your own decision about a book, you could check it out, but The Circle is terrible. I really hate it. It was so heavy-handed. I don't know how Dave Eggers can type with such ham fists, but whatever. But The Circle covers some of this stuff. Read the Wikipedia article. That really pandery, like, 80s sci-fi... What was it called? Ready Player One. That does a little bit of that. You can read Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, which does reputation economy really well. It's a Cory Doctorow novel. Yeah, very cool. I really like that one. It's super short. It's like 120 pages or something. So yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't read it already. Idiocracy tries to do a little bit of this, and Wall-E actually does it really well. That Pixar movie about the little robot. Yeah, all really cool. So those are some options for exploring what, like, a brand cyberpunk might be. My favorite novel about, like, branding in general and, like, what advertising looks like is Pattern Recognition. It's a William Gibson novel. It's one of his later ones, or more recent anyway. Absolutely, like, hands down my favorite novel about that. It paints the beginning of what a cyberpunk future might be like. Yeah, Snow Crash also does the weird, like, branding thing where you can be a citizen of Mr. Lee's Greater Hong Kong. I just recently reread Snow Crash, and while I do like it as a novel generally, I also find parts of it, like, super racist, and I think that it's supposed to be satirical, but like the way he portrays the like fucking Jesus, that is a lot of crucifixions, or no crucifixions, it's some impaled people. But oh my god, is this the farm from Gladiator? Oh no, Maximus. Anyway, Snow Crash. It's good. It's a satirical cyberpunk. Also worth checking out. You can learn all kinds of cool stuff about Babylon while you're at it. Oh, it's some ghouls. Hello, friends. Can I not talk to these dudes? Hello? Hello? No? Oh, okay, guys. Oh, I fell in a hole. Oh no. Okay, so now I'm in a hole. What do we have to say for ourselves? All surfacers to V'ger? Oh my god, V'ger. It's the satellite from Star Trek 1. I'd like to ask you some questions. Okay, let's go talk to V'ger. A visitor. How convenient. I've been contemplating a way to make contact with the surfacers. Now I don't have to worry about that thanks to your timely arrival. Welcome to the home of the slags. What do you want with me? Simple request. Make contact with MODOK. Would you do us this favor? I have many questions to ask. Fair enough. I wouldn't expect anyone to blindly accept. Okay, this person, I don't know, V'ger. This guy knows what's up. He's capable of talking to me in a way. Why can't you summon your own people? Since the ceiling. So what's up with the ceiling? Oh, the ceiling. Because the people have changed. If you can bear to be on the surface, I'm used to having a black sea of nothingness. Oh, so they're just like Morlocks or whatever. Chuds. They're Chuds. Oh god. Why the big ghost charade? So I'm trying to take over the farm. We're not violent, but you kind of are, dude. I've heard enough. I'll take your message to MODOK. But first, I will try to steal from you, because I want to see what kind of gear you got. They got some sealing wax. Oh yeah, give me your shit. Give it to me. All the bullets in the world. Aha, I've taken your ammo, now you're defenseless. You see, Grigori. Yeah, you sure do. I'm gonna die of leprosy any minute. Cool. So I'm at the point now where I'm actually feeling like I'm playing a Fallout. Like I'm not suffering through the shitty stuff at the beginning, and I'm like into the game. We're learning things about the world. Still a lot of really unanswered questions, but at least now I'm kind of seeing what's out there, right? I'm getting out there and checking things out. So I'm also cognizant of the fact that it is currently 10 after 4 my time, and I've got a swan song to prepare for. So I'm going to say goodbye for now to you fine individuals. Thank you so much for hanging out. Stick around. I will be hosting JP in about an hour, a little less, and we are going to play some swan song, which I imagine you already know all about because you're good people. But if you haven't watched it, swan song coming up soon. I'm going to be streaming again probably Wednesday, so in 2 days. I'm going to try and do some more European time zone friendly stuff because I don't have a day job, so I can actually do that. So I'm going to do a stream. We'll do a test stream at like 9 a.m. my time sometime, so it should be post-dinner for all of you fine European types. And I will see all of you, whether you're from North America, South America, or parts elsewhere. I'll see all of you very soon. And if you're just tuning in now and you've missed anything from here, it's all going to be on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for sticking out the hour. And see you for the next episode. Bye, everybody.